So section 4.6, simplifying fractions. This is a review of last year, and I think that's why we're having some of these done for you. Actually, I think the stuff that we're doing this year is easier than it was last year. Not because your brain is a full year developed and that much more smart, but because these, I think, make sense to a 32-year-old more than what the 6th graders have. So, simplifying fractions. When simplifying fractions, you must divide both the numerator, top number, and the denominator by the same number so it stays equivalent. You guys did equivalent fractions last year as well. So the bottom line is whatever you're doing to the top, you have to do the bottom so it stays the same by their GCF. So this is what part that's new, the GCF here. This results in an equivalent fraction that is written in simplest form. You have to reduce all of your fractions to be in the most simple form. So these are the 3 different ways that you can find the GCF of a number. This is from yesterday's lesson. So first one is the listing the factors. That's with the commas, not cross it out. Prime factorization and the upside down division. Okay? These 2 here are my favorite. This guy here will also get it, but I will teach you how to do each of them. So you're going to choose a method that works best for you. Good. Okay? Whatever one you like the most, whatever one you can do that will reduce the amount of errors. Can you please stop doing that? It's making noises. Reduce the amount of errors, you're in good shape. Okay? You're in good shape. Make sure you do this right. So let's do this. Let's simplify 12/16 all 3 ways. To do so, we must first find the GCF of 12 and 6. Here's the method 1, listing factors. Now, this is an example that's done out for you. There have been a lot of people who have been making huge errors because you're not verifying what you're doing with your notes. You need to verify what you're doing with your notes. All right? The last 3 lessons and today have a lot of different things going on that are very similar that you can't just expect to know. All right? We've gone beyond the time of where it's, I can figure that out. With algebra, you might be able to work with it after you've learned, but it's not a situation where you're going to understand the homework without looking at the notes, right? So expect to have that. Did I give you that, by the way, the blank notes? No? Yesterday's? And how close did we come to finishing our notes from yesterday? Do you remember? Okay. Just want to remind you and also show Summer. Welcome, by the way. Glad to have you. Welcome. Hi. So let's give Summer a warm welcome. Hi. Because that's not awkward. Sorry to put you in that position. So I want to remind you, if you missed notes, if you were absent, if you were really sick or something like that, you can have the completed notes. They're on my website right here. Okay? Boom. Look at all those examples from yesterday that weren't done when you guys were here. Okay? And also, if you want to see something really interesting, because I'm recording right now, we can have YouTube Inception. Because right now we're watching YouTube, and if you're watching this video right now on YouTube, you're watching a YouTube video on YouTube. You're watching a video watching YouTube on YouTube. Watching a YouTube video, watching a YouTube video on YouTube. Okay, that's enough of that. Did that hurt your head a little bit? I'm 100% sure I'm recording. Yes, we're good. Now back to it. Listing factors. But the main reason I'm talking about this is there's going to be a lot of different ways to do this. This is the sort of thing you need to study for Tuesday's test. Yes, Tuesday's test that you knew about, that I told you, and that also is right here on the 7th grade webpage. Thank you. If one saw it, you all saw it.
I saw it.
Good. Method 1 using factors. Factors is what we did last week. You got to list those factors. The way that you can do that is by memorizing those divisibility rules that we had last week. Stop talking, Ethan. Then we have, they have 1 as listed as a factor, but that's pretty much assumed. Okay, see how they have the 1 right here, and then the 6 right here? They put those in front because everything has a factor of 1. Even prime numbers have a factor of 1. You can divide anything by 1 and it'll still be that number. Then they have the number itself. Then they have the factors of that number in each one. Remember doing that last year? Remember doing that earlier this week? Okay. Then they found that the common factor is 4. So what they did was, so you're writing this now, they divided each of those by 4 because you have to do it at the top and the bottom. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 16 divided by 4 is 4. Nope. Yeah. It's 4, and there it is back down here. So you divide the numerator and the denominator. So what I have written there in green, you have written there in pencil. So whenever I write, so this is the layout of all the notes. You won't even need to bring this because I have all the stuff laid out for you, and it's all guided notes like that. Cool? All right. Method 2, prime factorization. This is my favorite. Method 2, the cross-out method. Now, before I even do this, can someone tell me, you do not have to write this if you are aware of this. Can someone tell me, what is 3 divided by 3? Yeah, 1. Okay? And what is, with that in mind, 29,846 over 29,846. What is that one, Sparrow? 1. Okay, that is also 1. And Avery, with that in mind, what is x over x? No. 1. 1. Remember the identity property of division? If you divide any number by 1, it's still that number. Well, x is any number, so this is going to be 1. With that in mind, let's get into how this applies to what we're doing. We have the factors of 12, and this is the bottom of a factor tree. So what this is actually doing is it's going 12, that would be 3 and 4, 2 times 2, and that's where these numbers come, and that's where that's at, okay? Does that look familiar? I want you to write that down. I want you to write that down. I'm going to go ahead and circle these and do a little. That's what the factors are. They're the factors that are at the end of the factor tree. Okay? Yes, sir. I usually do it this one. We had an issue during one of my previous classes that messed up the video, so I just stopped it there. So factors of 12 are on the top, factors of 16 are on the bottom. Now here's a situation where we have a number divided by that same number, and as we just went over, that equals 1. So they cancel each other out. They don't really cancel each other out, it just becomes 1. So it would actually turn into something like this. 1 times 3, and what do you know that is? You know that's 3, so they don't even need to put those in there. Okay? Then it becomes 2 times 2, which is going to be, I'm going to make this smaller, which becomes 3/4. And that's the answer. So the numbers that are not crossed out, well, I said like I was Canadian. I said like a Canadian. The numbers that are not crossed out, that is your simplified fraction. That's my favorite method. So we've learned method 1, we learned method 2, and then we're going to learn method man. Yeah. Yep, I already did. Thank you. Real algebra. What do you mean?
Pre-algebra.
We did, yeah, the last examples are there. The last third of your homework last night, algebra. Then we have the ladder method. Stop talking. Then we have the ladder method, or the upside-down box method, or the upside-down division method, or the step method. So we have the first one that we put down is the numerator. So I'm going to put numerator, denominator. So we're going to use the upside-down division, the box method, the ladder method, whatever you want to call it. We're going to call it the ladder method officially, because that's what you guys had last year. I'm dividing the number that's on the outside here, so 12 divided by 2, which is a common factor. You want to use a prime number on the outside of that, remember. Excuse me. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Then you can also take another 2 out of there. Then it says here, the greatest common factor of 12 and 16 is 2 times 2 equals 4. See how they got that 2 times 2? They got that 2 times 2. So we had to divide each of those by 4, and we got the same number, 3/4. Now, if I rewrote this, rather than saying, do you notice, I would say, what do you notice? So it says, what do you notice about the upside-down division example that may be helpful? What do you notice about the upside-down division sample that may be helpful? Molly May?
The bottom two numbers.
Mandy May, sorry. The bottom two numbers. What about the bottom two numbers?
The numerator one is on the left, and the denominator one is on the right.
Yeah. So, let's put that into words. You notice that the numerator and the denominator are on the bottom of the ladder. So write that in whatever words you would like that are English. And I wrote, the numbers that are on the bottom are the numbers for the reduced fraction, or the simplest fraction. It's true. Monday. So independent practice. We're going to do a couple of these together. We're going to do a couple of these together. I'm going to do number 16, 17, and 20 with you. So 16, do not go ahead. I don't know if you heard, but one of the class periods earlier today got in big trouble for going ahead, falling behind, and just not paying attention. In general, there's a lot of students in that class who are doing that. I want to be perfectly clear. When I zoom out of this page, what I expect is that all the markups that I have there, unless I said you don't need to, like that little bit there, all of that should be exactly what your notes look like, but in your handwriting. Okay? It may seem like nothing now, but bottom line is this. If you don't feel like watching my YouTube videos again tonight, and you don't feel like having to go on the website and see this there, if you don't have internet access or whatever, you have exactly what you're supposed to. Okay? If you decide that you don't like method 1 and method 2, those ones stink, fine, don't ever use them again. Use method 3, but the bottom line is you still have 2 more options of what you can do. All right? Is that clear? Write what I write, when I write, how I write it unless I tell you don't. Okay, now that's over with. Boom. Womp. So for this one, I'm going to use the factor method. So factors of 9. So I'm going to write 9 here. I'm going to write 15 here.
Wait, listing or?
Sorry, the list method. I'm sorry. List of the factors. So this is method 1.
Yeah.
Listing factors. So I know that this is going to be divisible by 1. I know it's going to be divisible by 2. No, because it's not even. I know it's divisible by 3 because I know my math facts. And that's going to be it. So it's just 3 and 9. I know that 5 is not even. I know that 5 is divisible by 3 because 1 plus 5 is 6. 6 is divisible by 3. And not 4, but yes, 5. And then 15. So I'm going to circle what my 3 is. Now what do I do? What do I do? Ooh, I don't know what to do. I'm going to verify. I'm going to act like I'm doing my homework tonight. I'm going to go back to my notes and I'm going to be like, back in time right here, listing. It says, divide the numerator and the, nope, yes. Divide the numerator and the denominator by the GCF. We found the GCF to be 3, so I'm going to divide. So 9 divided by 3, 15 divided by 3 equals 3/5. 3/5. We'll get a harder one that you guys can answer.
What? No. 3/5. You can answer that.
3/5. 3/5. Let's do number 17 together. Oh yeah, we're going to have plenty of time. Plenty of time. Now we're going to use a different method for this one. I'm going to use the upside down division. Please stop tapping your pen. 8 and 24b. 8 and 24b. Whose is that? Is this yours? It's a pen holder grippy thingy. Yes, sir. All right. They're both divisible by. Now, you want to make sure it's prime. Remember, prime, prime, prime on the outside of ladder method. So they're both divisible by what, Joe? By 4. That is not prime. What is one that's smaller than that that's prime? 2. So I'm going to take 2. So that's 4, 12b. I'm going to take 2 again. 2, 6b. I'm going to take 2 again. 1, 3b. Now, what is it that we noticed? What was that little tricky trick? What is it? Bottom two numbers are numerator and denominator. So we have 1 and over 3b. Hey, things for challenging for some people are easy for others. Now let's do, you wish. Now let's do number 20 using the prime factorization method. Mr. Sparrow? Yeah, you get to choose whatever one you want, but yeah. You guys are going to be doing that next. I want to show you one that has exponents. And you know what? Let's do a harder one together. Let's do number 22. So I'm going to pull out what I get from the prime factorization and put them on a line so they cancel each other out. First, I'm going to do 40 PQ cubed. So you remember what we did with these guys the other day? We kicked them out for a bit because they didn't have their homework. Okay? We kicked them out. Now we're going to do 40. Now we're going to do 40. Chloe, please. So I'm going to do, let's see here. Okay, then I'm going to put them in order. So I have my numerator. I have 2 times 2 times 2 times 5 times P times Q times Q times Q. That's what we did last night. No, that's what we did right after the test. Yeah. Now I have 52 to do. So now, stop talking. Forgot about the PQ squared. We've got to kick that out for a little bit. So now I have 2 times 2 times 13 times P times Q times Q. Now let's start to get to cancel these out. So we have 2 in the numerator. Another 2 in the denominator and numerator. Okay, what else do we have? What letter do we have? We have you minding your P's and Q's. That's right. Q, Q, Q. Ooh, yeah, that's right. So now we have, I'm going to go ahead and do this so I can tell when I'm grading my own work that I know where the answer is. So what's left? We have 2 times 5 times Q, which is going to be what? 10Q. Very good. 10Q. Excuse me. What's in the denominator? 13. Is that 3 of them that we've done? Now, there are certain ones that are easier with variables and certain ones that are easier with just expressions. Number sets, please. Thank you. Jeez. Just with the number, but when it's a monomial, you can use whatever method you want. But here's what you don't get a choice of. I need you to finish those 5. I need you to finish those 5, and in a little bit, once I see that you're all working and trying different things out, then I'll write the answers on the board. So, wait, no. You can use whatever method you want. You're doing those last 5. And if we don't get done with it, the answers will be on my website. But I'm going to be working up here after I see you guys are all working. Okay? Thanks.